You know that moment when you're on the phone with your mom or dad and they tell you the exact same story they just told you 10 minutes ago? Or you go to visit and they ask the same question over and over and over? It's one of those moments that just fills you with this mix of love and patience and a little bit of worry. And it all leads to this huge question that so many of us end up facing. Is what you're saying just a normal part of getting older? Or is it a sign of something more serious? It's a question thousands of us ask every single year. And honestly, that uncertainty, it can be paralyzing. But getting some clarity really starts with facing a couple of really common and frankly dangerous beliefs head on.
Okay, this is where we need to cut through all the noise. There are two massive myths that stop people in their tracks. The first one is this idea that, significant memory loss is just normal. Nope, it's not. It's a medical sign that the brain needs some attention. The second myth is the feeling of hopelessness, that if it's Alzheimer's, well, nothing can be done. And that is just absolutely false. So many causes of memory loss are treatable. And even when something like Alzheimer's is involved, there are often other issues we can fix to make a real positive difference.
So, to get you from that place of confusion to a place of clarity, here's our game plan. We've just touched on the myths. Next, we're going to look at the specific warning signs to watch out for. Then, we'll dive into some of the surprising and often treatable causes. And finally, we'll walk you through a clear medical action plan.
All right, let's jump right in with warning signs to watch. This is all about learning how to tell the difference between those little, everyday senior moments and the actual red flags that mean something more might be going on.
This right here is the key thing we all need to understand. Over on the left, you've got normal brain aging. Yeah, it might take a bit longer to remember a name, that classic, it's on the tip of my tongue feeling. We all get that. But what's on the right? That's different. Those are the potential warning signs. We're not talking about just being a little slower, we're talking about not being able to remember a conversation you just had. It's not about occasionally misplacing your keys, it's about asking the same question 5 times in an hour. See the difference? It's a big one. So what exactly should you be looking for? Well, geriatricians really zero in on a few key red flags. That repetition of stories or questions, that's a huge one. Suddenly having trouble with tasks they've done their entire life, like managing a checkbook or following a simple recipe. A big personality change, or making decisions that are just completely out of character for them. Getting lost driving home from the grocery store they've been going to for 30 years. And any kind of new paranoia, like accusing a family member of stealing their wallet when it's just been misplaced.
Okay, so once you've spotted some of the warning signs, the next logical question is why? Why is this happening? And that brings us to our next section, the surprising causes. Because let me tell you, it's not always what you think. The first thing you gotta understand is that it's rarely one single smoking gun. In older adults, memory loss is almost always multifactorial. That's just a fancy way of saying several different things could be piling on and affecting the brain all at the same time. And you know what? That's actually good news. It really is, because it means there are often multiple ways we can step in and improve the situation. Just take a look at this list. Yeah, down at the bottom you have the chronic conditions that people really fear, like Alzheimer's. But look at that top category, potentially reversible. Medication side effects, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, depression. These are all super common culprits that can cause major memory problems. And the best part is, they can often be treated or managed, leading to real improvement. This is exactly why getting a proper medical evaluation is so critical.
So thinking about that list, let me ask you a question. What do you think is one of the absolute most common and most importantly reversible causes of memory loss in older adults? It's something that millions of people are exposed to every single day.
The answer, and this might surprise you, is common medications. Yep, both the stuff you buy over the counter and the things prescribed by a doctor. This is a huge, often overlooked factor that can have a dramatic impact on an aging brain. And it's something you and a doctor can start looking into right away.
The main offenders belong to a class of drugs called anticholinergics. Now, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the concept is actually pretty simple. These drugs work by blocking a brain chemical called acetylcholine, which is absolutely essential for memory and learning. So when you take one of these drugs, you're basically turning down the volume on your brain's memory circuits.
And I bet the drugs on this list are going to surprise you. We're not talking about some obscure medications here. We are talking about Benadryl, the PM in Tylenol PM and Advil PM, common medications for an overactive bladder. These are drugs that are in millions of medicine cabinets right now.
An older person might take a Tylenol PM to help them sleep, not having any idea that they're taking something that is actively making their memory worse. This is why a thorough medication review is an absolute non-negotiable first step.
Which brings us right to our final section, the medical action plan. You've seen the signs, you understand some of the potential causes, so now what? Here's how you move forward and get real, actual help. First things first, let's be really clear about your role in all this. Your job is not to become a doctor and diagnose your parent. Your goal is simply to help make sure they get a proper medical evaluation. And you don't need to wait months for some fancy specialist. This entire process can and absolutely should start with their regular primary care doctor.
So what does a good evaluation look like? It's a simple 4-step process. Step 1. Before you even go to the appointment, write down specific examples of what you've noticed. Not just, Mom's memory is bad, but Mom asked me 3 times if I had eaten lunch today. 2. Bring in a list of every single thing they take, prescriptions, vitamins, even that Tylenol PM, and you need to specifically ask the doctor to check for those anticholinergics. 3. Ask for a simple in-office cognitive screen. And 4. Request some basic lab work to rule out all those reversible causes we just talked about. This little checklist turns you from a worried bystander into a seriously effective advocate.
Now, if you're worried about speaking up, listen very closely to this. A lot of people think they can't share their concerns with a doctor because of privacy laws like HIPAA. It is not a HIPAA violation for you to tell a doctor what you've seen. The doctor can't share information back with you without permission, but they can, and they absolutely should, listen to the information you provide. You are a crucial source of information. Don't forget that.
So this is where we'll end. You've learned how to separate myth from reality, how to spot the real warning signs, and how to understand that there are so many possible causes. And now, you have a clear action plan. The only question left is, now that you've spotted the signs, what's your next step to find clarity for someone you love?
Thank you for being here. Your best years are just beginning. Subscribe and share the 60 to 100 YouTube channel with friends who need this message. Let's age brilliantly together. Watch our next episodes. Just click on the thumbnails. Thank you.